Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we ask you to open our eyes, that we may value and appreciate all people, recognizing what we have in common, rather than focusing on what differences we might have. Inspire us to distinguish between what is important and what is not, and guide us through the decisions we make this evening, so that they may be more reflective of your will and not our own. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now call to order the Monday, October 3rd, 2016 meeting of the Jefferson City Council. Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Branch,
Here.
Costales, Graham,
Here.
Henry,
Here.
Hussey,
Here.
Mahalovich,
Here.
Prather,
Here.
Schreiber,
Here.
Ward, Wiseman.
Thank you. Item 3, I'll ask for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'd like to amend the agenda to include item D under item 4 for recognition of Officerdom Day, and then item move to have item E, recognition of staff John Voss to that section.
Thank you, Councilman Mahalovich. Hearing no objections, all in favor? And did we get a second? I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Was there a second? Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And also at this time, I'd like to recognize any scouts in the audience, and it looks like we do have a few here tonight. We always enjoy having you. And would you like to, all of you, come up to the podium and just say your name and maybe what school you're from tonight?
I'm Thomas Welch from Troop 8, and I go to JC.
I'm Matthew Blaisdell from Troop 8, and I also go to JC.
I'm Luke Johnson from Troop 8, and I go to Trinity Lutheran.
I'm Jacob Johnson from Troop 8, and I go to Trinity Lutheran.
Wonderful. We're very happy to have all of you here tonight, so glad to have you at the City Council meeting. Item 4, miscellaneous agenda items. Item A is a proclamation for Rotary World Polio Day presented to some of my fellow Rotarians, Greg Frank from Jefferson City Breakfast Rotary Club. So, Mr. Frank, if you'd like to come forward, and also there's other Rotarians with you, you're welcome to invite them to the podium as well.
Yes, Paul Rotarians would come to the podium with me. We could recognize the ones on the dais too. Carrie, Steve, Ken are Rotarians as well. All right. Coming up real soon is World Polio Awareness Day, October 24th. It's the anniversary of Jonas Salk's birthday, and we celebrate that every year. Just to give you a brief background of polio and where we're at as things have progressed. In the early 20th century, polio was one of the most feared diseases in industrialized countries, paralyzing hundreds of thousands of children every year. Soon after the introduction of the effective vaccines in the 50s and 60s, however, polio was brought under control and practically eliminated as a public health in developed countries. However, it took much longer to be recognized as a major problem in developing countries. Lameness surveys during the 70s revealed that the disease was also prevalent in developing countries. As a result, during the 70s, routine immunization was introduced worldwide as part of national immunization programs, helping to control the disease in many developed countries. In 1988, when the Global Polio Eradication Initiative began, polio paralyzed more than 1,000 children worldwide every day. Since then, more than 2.5 billion children have been immunized against polio, thanks to the cooperation of more than 200 countries and 20 million volunteers, backed by an international investment of more than $11 billion. Rotarians worldwide have contributed $1.5 billion towards this goal. There are now only 3 countries that have stopped polio transmission, that have never stopped polio transmission, and global incidence of polio cases has decreased by 99%. Just to give you some statistics, in 2014, there were 4 countries with a total of 341 cases of polio that were detected. In 2015, 70 cases of polio have been detected. And so far this year through September, only 26 cases of polio have been detected worldwide. So we've made great strides with polio. We're still raising funds for a Polio Plus campaign that we do every year to eradicate polio. WHO is the World Health Organization is leading that effort, but obviously Rotarians worldwide, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are all contributing, as well as a lot of different governments around the world.
Thank you for all the work that Rotary has done to eradicate polio, and as you mentioned at the end, the importance of funding to rid the world of this disease. And the proclamation summarizes a lot of what you said, but I will point out how a $20 donation to Polio Plus will immunize 33 children for a lifetime of immunity. And even though Rotary International has taken the lead on this, anybody can donate to Polio Plus in the community. So we want to share that and raise awareness. I'll be definitely writing my check for $20 to help, and I would encourage anybody in this room and in the community to do that as well. Anybody can make a donation to Polio Plus through their Rotarians. So thank you for your work. Would you like to have everybody introduce themselves at the podium today?
Yes, and which club they represent.
Sure. And you can speak in the mic if you'd like.
I'm Kit Freudenberg, Jefferson City Breakfast Club.
Welcome.
Frank Reisick, Jefferson City Evening Rotary.
George Castler, Breakfast Club.
Kent Trumbull, Jefferson City West Rotary Club. Just want to remind you, inflation, it has gone up to $26.50 instead of $20.
Great, $26.50. Thank you.
Dave Sylvester, Jefferson City Breakfast Club.
Julia Perlich, Jefferson City Breakfast Club.
Rita Esterly, Jefferson City West.
Wonderful. We're glad to have all of you here, and if you'd like to all come forward, we'll get a photograph, and then if all the Rotarians on the council would stand up here behind us, that would be great. Thank you.
Are we standing up? Oh, I thought you said stand up. Carrie, do you want us to go down there or stand up here?
Well, I wondered if y'all stand up here, if you could see them behind.
Well, there's like two of us. We'll just go down.
Oh, yeah, you could come on down. I guess I was thinking there was more.
Can we try to do 2 rows?
Can you see everybody?
Nope, that's good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, and I left them with 4 copies of that proclamation so they can share that with all 4 of the Rotary clubs in Jefferson City. The next item is item B, proclamation for recognition of Mr. Joe Wilson. Do we have anyone this evening with us who is a family member of Joe Wilson? If you would like to come forward to the podium. And we actually wanted to have you here this evening to express our gratitude and thanks for your father, Joe Wilson, and what he's done for our community over the years. And we presented copies of the proclamation already to the family, but we appreciate you being here this evening, and if you don't mind, I'd like to read a little bit of the proclamation this evening. Whereas Joseph R. Wilson was born in 1942 and is a longtime resident of the city of Jefferson, and whereas Mr. Wilson grew up in Jefferson City, graduating from Jefferson City High School in 1960, and whereas Mr. Wilson has dedicated his life to the youth sports, the pursuit and welfare of animals, promoting North Jefferson City and the Carl R. Noren River access, and whereas Mr. Wilson was instrumental in the development of the Jefferson City Dog Park, and whereas Mr. Wilson, also known as the mayor of North Jefferson City, has a genuine and deep love of the Missouri River, particularly Joe Wilson's Serenity Point at the Noren River access, and whereas Mr. Wilson has promoted, encouraged, and participated in various Missouri River events, including but not limited to the Missouri River 340 kayak race, Jefferson City River cleanup, and Race to the Dome. Therefore, I, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2016 as Joe R. Wilson BB and Bandit Month. So we wanted to take a moment to recognize Mr. Wilson and his family and all of his contributions to Jefferson City. The river wouldn't be the same without him. When the community lost Joe, I know we lost a big advocate for the river. I know this weekend when we have the Missouri River Race to the Dome that he will be watching over all of us there on the river and enjoying the view, and we greatly appreciate it. So on behalf of the City Council, we want to express our sympathy and our gratitude to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
And our Director of Parks and Recreation, Todd Spalding, here is also is going to give us a few words about the Parks and Rec proclamation that they declared as well.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Commission voted to officially rename it Joe Wilson Serenity Point at Noren Access. That was done last week. And with that, we have some planned improvements there. We are going to get a bench that is going to be Joe Wilson's bench. We're going to put it there. We're going to have, we're also going to make it official with a sign there that says Joe Wilson's Serenity Point at Noren Access as well. And also, we're putting a sign next to one of the rocks that he always seemed to like so much. And on that rock we're going to put a few words, and it says, Joe Wilson's Serenity Point at Noren Access in memory of Joe R. Wilson, 1942 to 2016, who helped create WSP by combining his love of community, nature, dogs, family, friends, paddlers, and the majestic Missouri River. To many, he was a river angel. As Joe always said, see you at the river. So that will be there for generations to come. We appreciate all of Joe's work.
Thank you, Mr. Spalding. And over the years, as I sat on the City Council for 6 years, Joe was a frequent visitor to the podium, and he always had something to say, and he was very passionate about that. And we appreciate all the times that he did come before this public body and talk to us about what he cared about for the city of Jefferson. And I know he was a frequent visitor here to City Hall, and his presence will be missed. So I'll ask for any council comments, but would you like to say maybe your relation to Joe?
I'm one of 5 boys of my dad's. I'm number 4, Justin Wilson. And on behalf of my family, we appreciate everything that the city of Jefferson has done in recognition of my father's hard work.
Thank you. And Councilman Mihaljevic?
I'd just like to express my condolences as well, but also the family had a private gathering, and there's more of a public gathering this Saturday after the Race to the Dome for people to come to the river and greet the paddlers coming down the river, as well as in that evening, I think they'll carry on to the evening. So
yes, that's correct.
If they want to come over, and there'll be plenty of his friends over there greeting the paddlers.
Thank you. At this time, if we could get a photograph, if you'd like to come forward, and I would also ask Mr. Spalding and then the ward council reps, which I believe would be Second Ward, if we all want to get together and get a picture.
I know you're trying to stand out of the way, so. Thank you.
Photo bomb. That's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, item C is Toys for Tots, letter of appreciation, and I believe we have some representatives here this evening from Toys for Tots, if they would all like to come forward. Welcome, we're glad to have you here this evening. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us your involvement, your position with the Toys for Tots group?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor, Council. I am the United States Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots Coordinator for Jefferson City, Cole County. I'm here on behalf to say thank you to the citizens of Jefferson City and Cole County, and for the 42 different organizations each and every year that supports the United States Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots. Last year in 2015, in Cole County alone, in Jefferson City area, we helped 850 needy children. Additional 926 children out of this particular program we helped in Callaway County, Audrain, and Osage. This year we set up a program also to help Montauk. We have United States Marine Corps Reserve started in 1947 in Los Angeles by two creators, which was a Marine Reserve Major, Bill Hendricks, and a Missouri resident, well-known gentleman's name is Walt Disney, who also had hand-drawn the logo. And ever since that day and time, this particular organization, United States Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots, is a 100% charitable organization. Everything comes in, toys comes into this program, 100% goes out to the children. And it is all accountable, and it's all the salaries, including our Marine Toys for Tots Foundation, is just like my salary, is exceptional, zero. And that's the way it should be.
Well, you're a great volunteer for the organization. We appreciate it. And for the record, could you give us your name for our official record?
Yes, I will. My name is Harold E. Faughan, F-A-U-G-H-N.
Thank you. We got that. And I did want to share this letter of appreciation and also to announce that on October 29th at Wendy's at Country Club Drive that there will be a fundraiser to support the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program, and also giving me that opportunity to thank the U.S. Marine Corps for their involvement in participating, and to the Wendy's management and staff that they were able to purchase 89 needy children toys for them last Christmas. And also to thank the Freedom of Road Riders Local 10, who since 1986 have held toy collections as well every October. So on behalf of the citizens of Jefferson City, it's my pleasure to thank you for your work on that, and to invite everybody to support Toys for Tots on October 29th at Wendy's, and in other events you'll be having coming up in the coming months.
Yes, ma'am. We have the October event, which will also include the mayor. So thank you, ma'am.
I will
also
be there.
be at Capitol Mall, and everyone is invited. That includes the parade and all the events at Capitol Mall.
And the date of the parade is different from the 29th.
Oh, it is October 29th.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
all the 29th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll look forward to that, and I'd like to present you with this letter, and there are 3 copies so you can share it with the others
I
on
will,
your
ma'am.
list.
Thank you.
Item D, at this time, I'd like to recognize Officer Sean Dumsday, if he would please come to the podium. And this is an exciting recognition, something that I'm very proud of. Last week, there was a banquet for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and our own Officer Dumsday was one of 15 officers and law enforcement that was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for your enforcement efforts. So I wanted to officially thank you. You did receive a plaque from the organization that night, and I know your efforts are very much appreciated in the community, that you do make an impact in saving lives through your enforcement. So I just wanted to invite you here this evening, and so we could officially recognize you tonight.
much. I appreciate it, Mayor. Just for me, it's a very special passion or a personalized passion. I've lost 3 very close people to drunk drivers, so it's something that I just have a very big passion to enforce. So thank you.
Well, it's a big deal what you do. It's very important to our community, and I know that we learned at the banquet just the impact that it has on the country and on the community, and the number of people that are killed on a daily basis, that it's epidemic proportions. If it was anything else that was killing that many people in a day, that the country would really rise up. And you think about that happens on a daily basis, and that it's completely preventable, and a lot of the victims just out of the blue have no way to defend themselves from a drunk driver. So your work is very important, and I know the entire police department prides itself on doing that, but we're so thankful that you received this recognition from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I think Councilman Mihaljevic, I forget what term you said on our way in here, that he's known as if they see you coming, they're in trouble, because you work very hard against the drunk drivers. So
that would be another pitch for the Citizens Police Academy. You get to find out what Officer Dumsday does, as well as all the team that's in the police department. So I don't know if the applications are past due, but that's where I learned the heroic efforts of our officers.
that's right, and that's very important. So on behalf of the entire city of Jefferson, we appreciate your efforts, and I wanted to congratulate you. So I know we've had a lot of pictures this evening, but would the entire council get behind me, and then I'll come down with Officer Dumsday.
Little circles.
You can try.
Jimmy.
I'm not trying. Ken.
I wish you could stand in the chair.
Steve. No, just kidding. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause. All right, and item E is Resolution 2016-21, which we have moved up on the agenda. So we have a resolution recognizing John Voss as the 2016 Outstanding Employee of the Year. So I would like to call Mr. John Voss to the podium. Welcome, John. And we also have Mr. Kroll is going to say a few kind words about you.
So it is my pleasure to introduce and recognize Mr. Voss, who on September 15th got and received the Outstanding Service Award for the year. So I thought I would read a little bit about what was mentioned at that time. We write it so it's a surprise, so nobody knows till the end, but I got a hunch somebody may know that it's John now. So, well, let me read it as it was written there. So, this year's nominee can be seen coming to work early with a smile and a good word to co-workers, never having a harsh word to say about anyone. There are often times this employee has to take on 2 or 3 projects due to others being sick or on vacation, and does so simultaneously without complaint. This employee sees the big picture and is always willing to help others when needed. Often, this employee is given the hard projects because of his ability in keeping detailed records and his professional attitude when dealing with contractors and property owners. His attention to detail ensures that the city is getting the best product possible and has inspired others to do a better job as well. This employee's contributions are a vital part of the effectiveness of the inspection group. This employee was hired 14 years ago during the downtown streetscape project. The project required a lot of interaction with downtown businesses. This employee did a great job keeping the project moving forward. It doesn't stop there. Recently, this employee was assigned to the Hazleton area, which has been a controversial project. This employee goes the extra mile and often comes in the office on weekends or holidays when contractors are working projects to ensure the projects stay on track. Please join me in congratulating John Voss, Construction Inspector, Public Works, as the year's recipient of the City of Jefferson Outstanding Service Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, John. And at this time, you can stay there at the podium. I would like to ask for a motion of support for Resolution RS 2016-21.
Second.
And Mrs. Powell will read the resolution.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson recognizing John Voss as 2016 Outstanding Employee.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, excuse me, roll call vote.
Branch.
Aye.
Costales. Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward. Aye. Wiseman.
Aye.
Resolution passes, and I have a copy here of the resolution that we'll get our last photograph of the evening together. But I wanted to take this opportunity to point out one of the special whereases here, that whereas while his efforts and work ethic are an example for each of us to follow, he is truly an asset, not just to his department, but to the city as a whole. So, John Voss, I congratulate you on being selected as the City of Jefferson Outstanding Service Award Employee for 2016. And do you have anyone in the audience you'd like to introduce this evening or recognize?
No.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you here, and I know you are under Matt Marash's department, so if Matt wants to also come up for the photograph, and if you wouldn't mind coming up, we'll get the council behind me and one more picture tonight.
Photoshop those in.
Say, Larry, with your you should this way. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, they just take a picture of us and Photoshop us in the back of it all the time.
A lot of great things to celebrate this evening. Item 5, public hearings, there are none. Item 6, there are no appointments by the mayor. Item 7, presentation from staff, consultants, and invited guests, there are none this evening. Item 8, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. I'll start with mine. Wanted to announce something that Mr. Jim Dyke brought to the community's attention to remind us that October 1st, 1826, that the city of Jefferson became Missouri's capital city. So that's a little interesting date in our history for our community. And as we know, October is known as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So just want to take a moment to remind everybody to get your health screenings, whatever they may be. I recently was the MC last week for an event at SSM Health, and they stressed the importance of early detection and screening. So I will give everybody that reminder, including myself. There are several events. I'll throw these out if you'd like to mark your calendars. These are sponsored by the American Cancer Society. On Sunday, October 9th, is the Cole County Pink event, which is Pink Up the Race 5K from 2 to 4 p.m. this Sunday, October 9th. Also, this Friday, October 7th at 10 a.m. is the Pink Ribbon Golf Tournament. And Thursday, October 20th is the Pretty in Pink Ladies Cocktail Party from 5 to 8. All those events are sponsored by American Cancer Society. If If anybody would like more information on those, they can contact Ashley at 635-4839 or ashley.hale, H-A-L-E, @cancer.org. So hope everybody can participate in those upcoming pink events. Also, SSM Health is holding their annual Mammothon the entire month of October. They're encouraging mothers, sisters, neighbors, and friends who have not had a mammogram or who haven't had one in the last 2 years. If they could make their appointments, St. Mary's will give them a free T-shirt. So I believe every Thursday during the month of October, but they're having that the entire month. So just remember to get your screenings as we recognize breast cancer awareness. For the council committee meetings, the public can check out our meeting schedule at jeffersoncitymo.gov for dates and times of committee meetings. And I'll ask if any council has any announcements of upcoming meetings or events. And we do know that this weekend is Lincoln University's homecoming, so at this time I'll call on Councilman Carlos Graham to give us the date of the homecoming parade and football game.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I thought that Mr. Jonathan Jackson would be here tonight, but I guess he's planning some more activities for homecoming. So on Friday night, we will have the firework show that will take place around 9 o'clock. That will take place on campus. So let the community know that there will be another fireworks show that will take place on Friday evening. Saturday morning at 9:30 is the parade, and we will start at Broadway and High Street, and it will conclude on campus. At 2 o'clock is the football game, and they are saying this is going to be one of the largest homecoming in Lincoln University history. We're celebrating 150th anniversary, so we are expecting a lot of people to return back to Jefferson City. At this point, I believe all the hotels in Jefferson City are full, Kingdom City, and they are taking some rooms up in Columbia as well. So this is supposed to be one of the largest homecoming events in the history of Lincoln University. So that's it.
Thank you, Councilman Graham. And as you stated, our Lincoln University student, the next item on the agenda, he is on campus celebrating homecoming as we speak. So thank you for filling in on his report. And Mrs. McMillan, if you would like to announce the upcoming open house on October 13th.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Capital Area MPO is hosting an open house on Thursday, October 13, from 3 to 6 p.m. in the Boone Bancroft room across the hall. And you're invited to voice your views on pedestrian and bicycle issues. They've got a draft pedestrian and bicycle plan, and they're looking for input into that, those kinds of improvements in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or any further announcements from council or staff? Yes.
I forgot to announce, and Councilman Henry may want to address this. There's also a basketball game that's taking place on Saturday for a scholarship. Councilman Henry, you want to talk about that?
Oh, it's called the Ball for D Hall. It's the 5th annual 3-on-3 basketball scholarship tournament. A group of us do in the name of a fallen police officer we actually went to college with some years ago. He passed away off duty in 2011 in St. Louis, and that's our 5th annual Ball for D Hall basketball tournament. Still have some raffle tickets left. We'll be raffling off a 40-inch flat screen television. We also give out 3 book voucher scholarships to students, so Lincoln students. So thank you, Councilman Graham.
Thank you. All right, item 10, presentations from the gallery on specific bills or resolutions. We have nobody signed up this evening for that. Item 11, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 12, bills introduced, 2016-57.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a wayfinding signing agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for wayfinding signage on the Rex Whitten Expressway.
Thank you, Mr. Morash.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As clerk indicated, this is basically a permissive use agreement with MoDOT to allow signage on their right-of-way. It's part of our downtown wayfinding sign project. We've done agreements to have these signs, and they're grant funded, but to actually put them on the right-of-way, we go back and apply with a specific sign. and this would allow us to do that. It'll say, it'll point to downtown, Munich, Bergen, Capital Region, so it'll have 3 designations on it, and there's a mock-up of it, an illustration in your packet if you'd like to look at it.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Moresh? Okay. 2016-58.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2-20, Compensation of Officers and Employees of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri pertaining to compensation paid to elected officials.
Thank you. Mr. Comley?
I think the purpose of this is to, of course, is to increase the salary for the municipal judge. The issue would be when it's effective. The effective date of the ordinance in your packet may need to be altered before final passage. My understanding is that the judge's salary cannot be increased until the next term of court, or the next term of the judge, which would take effect in April of 2017.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Comley? Okay. 2016-59.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, changing, amending, and modifying the zoning map of the zoning code of the City of Jefferson by rezoning .97 acres of land located in the 1100 block of Oak Street from RS4 Single Family Residential to CO Office Commercial, and endorsing an associated comprehensive plan amendment.
Thank you. Mrs. McMillan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This application concerns property in the 1100 block of Oak Street. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application at their meeting of September 8th and recommended it be approved. The screen shows the vicinity of the 1100 block, and you can see that it's in proximity to Capital Region Medical Center's campus. And they've been undergoing an expansion and have acquired this block recently. They've all the houses that are shown on that particular block have been torn down, so it's vacant land at the present time. The immediate plans are to construct parking lots in support of their expansion. They may also eventually construct medical office space or ancillary facilities that support the campus development. The public hearing is scheduled for October 17 at 6 p.m. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. McMillan? Okay. And I want to take just a moment to back up to item C on the consent agenda, authorizing permissive use of right-of-way at 315 Jefferson Street for Town Grill, because I know we have a few people here in attendance that I just noticed that were here. I see the Town Grill t-shirts, so the item, of course, is passed, and we are glad you're here, but just wanted to mention to thank you for being here this evening, and you certainly don't have to stay for the entire meeting, but we'd love to have you stay as long as you want to. And I don't know if you brought pancakes or eggs or anything with you. Maybe next time. So, but anyway, thank you. Sure. Well, thank you for being here tonight. So, all right, we'll move on to 2016-60.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, changing, amending, and modifying the zoning map of the zoning code of the City of Jefferson by rezoning .25 acres of land addressed as 615 East Capitol Avenue from RA2 High Density Residential to CO Office Commercial.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This location on East Capitol Avenue is in the midst of kind of a hodgepodge of zoning, if you will. The property owner wishes to use the building at 615 East Capitol for office use with a separate residence on the second floor. However, the current zoning, which is RA2 multifamily, does not support that office use. The proposed uses are supported by the recommendations of the Central East Side Plan, and also the Planning Division staff are in the process of developing a rezoning plan for the neighborhood, which also envisions a mixed-use district that is consistent with the owner's proposal to use it for office space. Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application at their meeting on September 8th and voted to approve it or recommend its approval to the council. The public hearing on this matter is scheduled for October 17th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Any questions? And I believe, is this the residence that won the Golden Hammer last month? I think it is, isn't it? They had a really great tour. I've been inside of this when the Golden Hammer was presented. I think Councilwoman Ward presented that award, and it is really done very nicely, the renovations.
A very beautiful renovation.
It is, very beautiful. All right, 2016-61.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, updating Chapter 28 of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri pertaining to the restaurant and food code.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Environmental Health Division proposed an update of Chapter 28, Restaurant and Food Code. Actually, the update is based on the current state of Missouri Food Code from 2013. The update would better serve the food industry and be consistent with state of Missouri Food Code standards. The Environmental Health Division had a significant outreach and open house for the restaurant and food service industry, and that timeline is included in your packet. That included 2 open houses, public comment periods, and then discussions with the food service industry representatives about the proposed code updates. So we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, 2016-62.
An ordinance amending Section 19-401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule N, Parking Meter Zones and Monthly Parking Fees, Subparagraph B, and Schedule O, Parking Time Limit Zones, Subparagraph C1, of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri pertaining to parking on a portion of East McCarty Street.
Thank you, Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this would modify our parking time limits on 3 spaces on McCarty Street near just east of Madison. Basically, it modified 3 spaces from 10 hours to 2 hours. The request was brought up by a citizen and went through the Transportation and Traffic Commission, and they recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Marash? Councilwoman Wiseman?
Will they still be able to put in enough quarters to stay there 10 hours, or is it just now a 2-hour meter and that's it?
I don't believe you can park there 10 hours any longer, fully 10 hours.
Any further questions? And you've spoken with the property owners?
They brought it forward, and the reason we set those zones so there creates turnover. So the 10-hour ones are for all-day parkers, whereas a 2-hour meter would be to try to create the turnover, which would be counter to the reason we have the 2 hours.
Okay, thank you. 2016-63.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Section 19-401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule J, Parking Prohibited, Subparagraph A of the Code of the City of Jefferson by the addition of Sunset Lake Road on the north and south sides between Sunset Court and South Ridge Drive.
Thank you. Mr. Marash?
Thank you. And I believe the clerk stated it quite well. Basically, it removes parking between Sunset Court and South Ridge, and this was a request from the neighborhood, and it went through the T&T Commission, Traffic and Transportation Commission, and they recommended approval. I think there was some issues with folks parking in this area, doing some kind of Pokemon game or something, but a lot of people were pulling off into the grass and various things, and I know the police were working this area, so they requested the area be signed no parking. So it went through the commission, and they recommended approval.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Thank you. Item 13, bills pending, 2016-49.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $140,782 agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Services for the period of November 1, 2016 to October 31, 2017, reflecting consolidated planning grant funds as approved in the fiscal year 2017 Unified Planning Work Program.
Thank you. Mrs. McMillan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The 2017 Unified Planning Work Program was adopted by the Campo Board of Directors, Capital Area MPO Board of Directors on May 18th, 2016, and was forwarded to the City Council for adoption in the 2017 budget. So this represents the 14th such agreement with Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission for transportation planning for the Jefferson City urbanized area. The $140,782 represents the federal contribution. The local match required, that's also reflected in the city's budget, is $35,195 for a total work program funded under this agreement of $175,997. The local match are specified in the memorandum of understanding that are signed by the participating jurisdictions, which calls for 75% of the local match to be contributed by City of Jefferson, that's $26,397, and 25% from Cole County, which is $8,799. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Deliberation? Okay. Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schreiber,
Aye.
Ward, Wiseman, Branch.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-50.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $138,916 surface transportation planning grant supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Services.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the second of two grants that provide financial support for the capital area MPO and transportation planning function for the Jefferson City urbanized area. And it will provide transportation planning services for the current fiscal year as well as 2017. And the Unified Planning Work Program was adopted by the capital area MPO in May and forwarded to the city for inclusion in the budget. This agreement is also financed 80% federal with 20% local match. And in this case, the City of Jefferson will provide 84% of the local match, which is $29,208, and Cole County will provide the remaining 15.9%, which is $5,521. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Deliberation? Roll call, please.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schreiber,
Aye.
Ward, Wiseman, Branch,
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-51.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $41,615 agreement with Evers & Company, LLC for audit services for the 2015-2016 fiscal year.
Mrs. Miller?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. An RFP was released and 4 firms responded. The level of staff and the number of hours dedicated to the audit set Evers & Company apart from the other respondents. It's the recommendation of the Evaluation Committee to award to the best offer as received from Evers & Company.
Thank you. Any questions or deliberation? Roll call, please.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schreiber,
Aye.
Ward, Wiseman, Branch,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-52.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $28,000 engineering design contract with MECO Engineering Company Incorporated for electrical design services and authorizing a $12,000 supplemental appropriation within the general fund.
Thank you. Mr. Marash?
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this is an engineering contract with MECO Engineering, one of their offices based here in Jefferson City. The total agreement's for $28,000. This agreement does 3 things. One, it evaluates our electrical needs in the downtown to support vendors at various events and things of that nature. It also looks at the generator needs of this building, City Hall. We don't currently have this building on a generator, so we'll evaluate that issue. And then it also does the supplemental appropriations, the clerk indicated, for $12,000 from the general fund. Happy to answer any question. The remainder of the contract, $16,000, is paid for by capital improvement sales tax.
Thank you. Any questions or council deliberation? Roll call, please.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schreiber,
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-53.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $55,800 agreement with Central Missouri Professional Services Incorporated for the evaluation and preliminary design of the MSP Parkway.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you. Again, another engineering contract with Central Missouri Professional Service here in Jefferson City. The contract amounts $55,800 to be paid out of the sales tax funds out of the MSP allotment. But basically, the council passed a resolution, as most of you recall, back in March 2016, talking about opportunities to get a long-term lease at MSP, and this was one of the bullet items in that resolution that a key factor of it was that we have the MSP Parkway designed into the projects as per the master plan. So this contract will evaluate that roadway network and give us cost estimates and things to utilize in our negotiations on the contract.
Thank you. Any questions, deliberation? Roll call, please.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward. Aye. Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Bill passes. That's an exciting bill. I know when a lot of us are asked, when is anything going to happen at the historic prison? This bill that was just passed is really the next step in redevelopment and revitalization of that area of the historic prison. So, very exciting night. Item 15, we did 2016-21, so now resolution 2016-22.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the filing of an application for a home repair opportunity grant.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. McMillan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution authorizes the filing of an application for a home repair opportunity grant, also known as HERO. This is the second year the city will have applied for HERO funds. The city was awarded $49,500 in funds for 2016, and at the present time, we're assisting 2 eligible homeowners with necessary repairs, modifications, and maintenance. If awarded, we would come back to the council for acceptance of the grant.
Thank you. Any questions, deliberation? Roll call, please.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward. Aye. Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item 16, presentations from the gallery on all other topics, and individuals will be limited to 3 minutes. So the first person signed up is Donna Dietz. Welcome.
Thanks. And I'll try to talk fast, make my 3 minutes. Donna Dietz, 720 East High Street. I know you all have received oodles and oodles of emails from me on this apartment complex that's being proposed in the 700 block of East McCarty. There's several of us here, though, that want to talk to you about that and give our information to you. Shortly after being informed that this was going to happen, we met with the developers themselves. They called me and said, hey, want to go to dinner and talk about this? And we said, no, there's a bunch of us that want to talk to you. So we met with them, about 3 dozen of us. Some of the findings from that meeting were the proposal has gone from 40 apartments to 50. And when we discussed that with the developers, they said they had to have at least 50 apartments in order to break even. They're planning to use $2 million of loan money and applying an $8 million tax money from the Missouri Housing Development Corporation. They have verbal agreements with the property owners except for one who they kind of told her they were going to take her property by eminent domain. The only investigation they did of the area was property information and market values. When questioned at that meeting, they said they didn't find out anything about the schools, the transit system, or the infrastructure. They also stated that all of their apartments would be rented only to persons who are working, and those apartments would be rented for $450 to $650 each, and the income levels, and they would investigate the income levels of their potential renters. They shared that they have a reputation for close investigation of renters and have evicted renters for single-month non-payments. Their estimate of the demographics based on their 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units mean that at least 200 new people would be living in this one-block area, with 75 parking spots necessary and at least 50 new students to attend East Elementary School. They also stated at that time that they had no drawings or designs, as the process of this application calls for them to be accepted for the application, and then they would start their design. A group of us followed up with these gentlemen and took them on an hour tour, or a little over an hour tour, of Jefferson City, including the east side, south side, Cap Region area, the Blight area, Lincoln, and then shared the history of the city and its redevelopment efforts. Since then, we've gotten further information, including copies of the preliminary drawings that they have already done. Their application is only for 9 apartments at market value, and the rest would be for low income, and they would be required to take all Section 8 applications that applied. Majority of the parking would be on-street, not off-street parking. Our concerns, besides the fact that this was all happening before anybody even knew about it, was the overcrowding situation for East Elementary School, the large influx of individuals in the area, the lack of parking, the designs that don't meet the criteria established by East Side Development Plan. The complex would impact the appraised values of the buildings around it, and the possible vacancy of other houses and apartments where there's already low-income people living on the east side. The developers are not from this area, know very little about Jefferson City, and have tried to ingratiate themselves into us with emails saying, oh, we'll work the trolley system into their development plan, or we'll contract with a certain councilman's insurance company to insure the company, or insure the apartments. We have grave concern about this. We've got a group of us here to talk about it. We've already had hundreds of people signing our petitions and are going to the public hearing on October 17th. I know that the city attorney has advised you that you can't or shouldn't do a resolution in opposition to this, but we want you to support the members of our community in our opposition.
Thank you, Mrs. Dietz. Any questions from council? Okay, thank you. Mr. Tony Smith is next on the list. Welcome.
Thank you. Tony Smith, 1211 El Moraine. In 2010, we were big supporters of the transformation project that the chamber ran, and one of the big things in that project was adaptive reuse. So we bought a house at 612 McCarty. It was vacant. We rehabbed it, and we just got a Golden Hammer Award, like others may have gotten. We also were just covered in Her magazine for the work that we did on that house in this area. I can stand on my porch there and look at where this project's going to be. I want to mention a couple of things that was in the News Tribune article on August 11th, right after the HPC Commission heard a presentation from a developer who came to talk to them. It was the first time, as far as we know, that this was discussed in the public, and well, at least it got out to the public, that there was this project underway. And she told the HPC that she had been talking to the city for off and on up to a year, according to the article. As far as we know, no elected official knew about any of this prior to this. I don't know if that's just plausible deniability for you all or what, but I don't call that transparency. The other thing that she said to the HPC Commission, according to some of the people that were there, is this was just a courtesy discussion, that it was a done deal. Well, it's not really a done deal, because she then also stated that they were going to the Missouri Housing Development Commission to get public money to fund this, 80% public money and 20% their own loans. So that's not done yet. That's October 17th. She said, according to the article, that there would be plenty of time for community feedback and input after they got their loan. That's a little late. What I would like to see is that the public would be made aware of these kind of projects before it's all a done deal, and be able to give input to you all as to whether or not we think it's a good project. Now, many of us here don't think it's such a good project, and I have a letter to the MHDC that will go out tomorrow or the next day, and you all get a copy of it, where I discuss in detail my concerns. The final thing that was in the article was that their project and the kind of projects that they're doing would encourage other neighbors to invest in their properties in the same area. I don't think so. If I had known about a deal like this, or if this was already underway there, I doubt I would have bought that house at East McCarty. And so I have a lot of concerns about it, and I'd like to see that discussed in public before it's a done deal.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Thank you. Our next speaker is Connie Hubble. Connie Hubble, thank you.
Connie Hubble, 630 East High Street, Apartment A. My husband Daryl and I are owners of properties in the 600 block of East High. We own 630 East High, which is East End Drug, 630B, 628, which is a Golden Hammer recipient award, 618 East High, and 616 East High, and for the last 10 years we've lived above East End Drug. My husband's passion for this neighborhood goes way back to 1973 when Whaley's East End Drug hired him out of pharmacy school, and there he stayed. He has a very short resume. He's not here tonight because his mother is ill in Louisville in the hospital, and I'm speaking for him, which might be a better thing because of that passion. He does show emotion for that neighborhood. One of our main concerns about this project is that a few years back, you all did us a favor by improving our intersection and giving us new sidewalks. However, in the process, it took away our parking and the front where we don't have a handicap spot. We only have one parking on the side on Lafayette, and the people on the other side of the street don't have parking. We are very concerned if this project goes in that there will be parking down closer, further down on the corner of Lafayette and McCarty. We also own the parking lot next to Stanley Security and the answering service. That parking lot is our employee parking lot. Several times they have wanted to rent, spaces from us, which we can't help them with because all 10 of our spots there are full of our employees. They tell us that they will only be providing so many spots and not two-car location parking for the residents in that building. So this will create a parking issue for us. Another concern that Daryl and I have, because we have 5 buildings in East High, and very concerned about the appraised values of our properties and what will happen if that large a complex comes in. We want to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood. East End is on the National Registry for Historic Landmarks. That building was a corner drugstore way back in when the building was built in 1896. It continues to be one today. That's a neighborhood that a lot of tourists go into just to stop by and have a cherry Coke or see the history on the walls in the drugstore. We are concerned about maintaining the integrity of that neighborhood if these children that might be moving in don't have room in East School for them as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Hubble. Any questions? Okay, thank you. I actually do have one question for Donna Dietz, if you would want to come to the podium. You had mentioned the public hearing, and I wondered if you could announce when and where the public hearing, I think Tony referenced October 17th.
It is October 17th, 11 a.m. at the Stony Creek Inn in Columbia, Missouri.
Okay, thank you.
And
That was my
anybody who
question.
wants to ride, we're taking a trolley up, so you can ride with us.
Thank you, Donna. All right, item 17, council and staff discussion of, excuse me.
I apologize, I didn't get signed in. Could I add a few remarks to?
I'm sure we could. Would council approve that? Is that what your hand might have been up?
Sure.
I move that we approve the...
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Sure. If you could just come to the, pardon me?
My name is Matt Holland, and actually I'm a resident of Holt Summit, not a resident of Jefferson City. But I own several properties right along McCarty Street, all within a block of where this proposed development is. And I just wanted to, they've done a very good job, Donna and Connie, have done a very good job of pointing out the overcrowding in East School. A lot of that stuff. I wanted to point out a little bit more of the economics of maybe how this might impact. This intersection and all the work that's went into Lafayette and all the work that's going into MSP, the bill you just, or the resolution you just passed tonight for engineering, this is going to be a highly trafficked area. Is this truly the best use for a brand new highly trafficked intersection is to put residential? Residential would normally be located a block or two away, oh, I apologize, a block or two away from this, where you make your main thoroughfare your commercial, and you back that up with the residential to work it. So I think that's probably my main point that I wanted to make, is just that this seems rather counterintuitive to all the work going on at MSP, all the work that was just done at the Lafayette interchange. You know, it does a great job of benefiting the MSP and Lincoln, but you're kind of create this kind of odd area in the middle that really could be utilized for better commercial benefit.
Thank you. And could you give us your name one more time?
Matt Holland, Holland.
Holland, okay. Thank you. And it was brought to my attention that maybe Kathy Bortner wanted to speak, so I'd ask council if there was a motion for that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Kathy, if you would like to come forward. Welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name's Kathy Bordner, and my husband Dave and I live at 718 East Capitol. This location for this proposed apartment complex is in the central East Side Neighborhood Plan area. And when that plan was developed, it recommended inviting gateways on the eastern border and on the western border of that area. And I believe that this particular lot was considered one of the gateways to the area. So we should not be putting something like a convenience store or a strip mall or a high-density apartment complex at the gateway to the central East Side neighborhood. We should be putting things that are very inviting and draw people in. You, the city, the county, have invested a lot in infrastructure. You've invested in trying to turn around the blight. City staff have invested hundreds of hours probably dealing with the abandoned property building over there. We as property owners, along with many other families, the Hubbles, the Dietz, and I just hesitate to start naming people because I'll forget people. We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm sure if you added it all together, it would be millions. We've invested hours and time in trying to revitalize that area, and I think all of us were looking at the Central East Side Neighborhood Plan as a guideline. And that plan said that you should be preserving the character of the neighborhood, and this project is not going to do that. Another issue that Dave and I have is that for years, the City Council, the Old Town Revitalization Group, other organizations have said that the high percentage of rental property in Old Town is a problem. We have too many absentee landlords, we have too many rental properties that are not maintained, and one way to turn that around was to offer incentives to get people to want to move and live in the Central East Side, and to now allow a 50-unit apartment complex. It completely undoes any progress that we've made. Old Town is trying to work on one building at a time. Well, at this rate, it's going to take 50 years for them to make up what they're going to lose, the ground they're going to lose by bringing in 50 rental units. It's a step backwards. We need to continue to encourage people to buy homes that they will live in and become owner-occupied residents of that area. We appreciate the work that you're doing. You're trying to rebrand Jefferson City. Mayor, with your selfies, it's just a wonderful thing to see. We think that this project is going to rebrand the Central East Side in a negative manner.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Bordner. Any questions? Councilman Mahalovich?
Several issues have been brought up. Well, it's not specifically for you, Kathy, but in general. Several issues have been brought up about due process and public hearings and all that. So I'd like to address this to our legal counsel, Mr. Connolly, and to talk about the due process afforded to landowners and some of the comments maybe from your email you sent out today, as well as to Ms. McMillan regarding the public process for the project and how it relates to the comprehensive plan, the East Side Plan, and planning and zoning. So.
On your question, Councilman, to the extent I can without any breach of any confidence or privilege, the City Council sits in a position of administrative judge and a fact finder on the occasions when matters before the Planning and Zoning Commission would ultimately reach you for decision. In visits with Mrs. McMillan, I understand that there's a possibility, very strong possibility, that the developer will have to appear at the Planning and Zoning, will have to file an application for rezoning or for a more complex plan. And as a result, the City Council will be in an evaluative position. You will have to make decisions about whether this goes forward or whether it doesn't. And because of that, I mentioned that it's important for you to stand in a neutral position. So I think that would address your question to the extent I could.
Staff receives countless inquiries from individuals, potential developers, and so until an actual application is filed with the city, we don't have anything to review. So what we have had are conversations with people who have an interest in pursuing developments in the city. That, for the most part, are casual conversations. We discuss the codes that would be applicable, if a rezoning is required, what that process is. This particular developer wanted to talk to the Historic Preservation Commission about what they would be interested in. So I give them credit for that. But no application has been filed with the city. The city has nothing to act on at the present time. So if an application would be filed, we would put it through the process as any other development. If a rezoning is required, that would come to the Planning and Zoning Commission and on to the City Council for public hearing.
Thank you. Further questions? And kind of to build on Councilman Mahalovich's question, there is a public hearing coming up in Columbia on October 17th with the 5 people that came and spoke here this evening. Of course, they're speaking to us. It's on the record. But is there sort of a responsibility that the city should have to let the developers know that we've had 5 people address us, or emails or calls or whatever, so that they're aware of some of the concerns that have come here? How do we get the concerns from the podium to the developer?
My thoughts would be that the law would not forbid any of the councilmen to attend that meeting. And it would not forbid the council to discuss this as a individual council member with the developers or people who represent the developers, whatever your thoughts may be as an individual council person. Or I think the council person can express their views individually to any person that may be interested in what your view may be. So that's my answer.
That's helpful, and I think my thought is, as as the developers, if they knew that there were comments here, really and the groups that have come here to speak, all the individuals, they're coming here to address the council, not the developers of the project. But I wondered if there was a way to somehow convey some of the comments, or at least to know comments were made at this meeting this evening, if there was a way to convey that. And maybe that's up to individual council members. That's why they came to the podium to tell us. My other comment I wanted to make is when Mr. Tony Smith said it was a done deal, and that's a concern that I have, and want to just make sure that, like Mrs. McMillan mentioned, no application has been filed with the city, so any perception that there is a done deal would not be accurate, correct?
That's correct. We have no application to review.
Okay. Well, I think you've lined out
There's no
some of the
application.
process. It sounds like it's preliminary for the city, but the developers will be having their public hearing.
Well, I'd like to point out the developers don't own the property yet, so they've got to consummate the real estate deal, first of all, in addition to getting approval or to move forward with the project, with their proposed project from MHDC. So they have a lot of hurdles to get over before they could even submit an application to the city. And then at that time, we go through our process to see if it comports with our site development codes, with the zoning, and all the other codes that would be applicable to any development that occurs within the city.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or deliberation? Councilwoman Ward?
I just have one comment. Through working with potential developments in historic areas, I have found that putting this type of a development next to a historic cemetery potentially is the demise of the cemetery due to trespassing, littering, vandalism. We faced this in an area I lived in before, in the historic cemetery came out against the development for that very reason. So this is a really big development, only 2 blocks away from our National Cemetery and our historic city cemetery. So I just wanted to bring up that concern.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ward. Any other council and staff discussion of presentation topics?
I just have one. Councilman Constalis, who cannot be here with us tonight, of course, he's traveling out of state due to a family emergency. But he did want me to ask staff about the compensation study to see where we're at with that. And so I wanted to maybe ask Steve where we're at with the compensation study.
Well, the consultant is still preparing some of the final information. I haven't seen the final information yet, and then we'll be working it through the process. So they're getting very close. I just don't have a deadline yet. But I know they've done their analysis, they've done their market studies, they've gotten the information. I think they're putting that all together.
Thank you, sir.
Item 18, any new business? Any unfinished business? I will call this meeting adjourned. All right, thank you.